infrastructure, and population growth. All topics at the Fort Smith State of the City address. Coming up, we'll tell you what the mayor had to say.
Amazing Tuesday on tap for us. Daytime highs, upper 70s, low 80s. We'll talk about a much cooler Wednesday coming up.
This is not going to be a quick recovery. It will take time.
Communities in Arkansas are recovering after the deadly tornado outbreak. How neighbors are helping those in need.
Covering news where you live.
Your 5 News This Morning starts now.
Well, hey, good morning. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on 5 News this morning. We're off to a great start on this Tuesday. Except for that wind, it'll blow you away outside.
Oh, yeah. My car, I felt like I was really having to grip it this morning, even though that wasn't going to do anything.
Definitely so. Okay, Stephen, this morning we need lots of extra hairspray, gel, whatever.
Yeah, I think the wind has been the headline this week. It's going to be another windy day today as well. But the good news out of all this wind is that at least it's making things warmer outside. Daytime highs today, 70s and 80s. If you can get past the wind, it's absolutely gorgeous out there. Current temperatures starting off into the 50s and 60s this morning. Good morning to you there in Ozark, 59, 65 there in Fort Smith, 63 in Fayetteville, 62 in Bentonville. Again, overall, really nice start to this Tuesday. A little bit different for our Wednesday, though. We're talking about another cold front coming in. We'll talk about what the effects will that be for tomorrow afternoon. I'll tell you what, though, it's going to be warmer in the morning for our Wednesday morning before we get to the afternoon hours. Wind advisory for today and tomorrow. It's going to be windy once again today. I think the sweet spot for those sustained winds right around 20 miles per hour. But every once in a while, we could see a strong gust of wind picking up near 45 miles per hour. Again, that's today and tomorrow. Northwest Arkansas forecast the rest of the day today looks like this. Sun and cloud mix out there. Daytime highs eventually returning back up into those mid to upper 70s for us today across the River Valley. We'll see those daytime highs returning back up into the low 80s. Again, a mix of sun and clouds, eventually losing some of that cloud coverage by the time we get late this evening. Again, cold front comes in overnight tonight, so the warmest part of our Wednesday is going to be during the morning hours. By Wednesday afternoon, it's going to be a bit chilly outside. We'll talk about it coming up.
All right, thank you, Stephen. All right, taking a live look out in Fort Smith, where Mayor George McGill gave his State of the City address hours ago.
Fort Smith is on the rise. More people, more development, and big investments are shaping the city's future. But with that growth comes some challenges. 5 News reporter Morgan Wrigley is live in Fort Smith this morning to break down the mayor's address. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning, Tiffany and Joe. Well, Mayor McGill says that Fort Smith is headed in the right direction with more people choosing to call this area home. Now, in his State of the City address, he highlighted some wins, including big investments in healthcare and population growth. But he also laid out some of the challenges ahead. Now, the Fort Smith metro area now has a population of 232,000, something Mayor McGill says is a sign of steady growth. But as the city grows, crime is actually going down. Over the past 4 years, Mayor McGill says the crime rate has dropped by 40%, and in 2024, there were 0 murders in the city. The mayor also addressed Fort Smith's federal consent decree, which requires hundreds of millions of dollars in sewer system upgrades. He says this is a big challenge, but in the long run, the city will be better for it. Another big topic was healthcare. He also pointed to nearly $200 million expansion at Mercy Hospital, calling it a major investment in the city's future.
Healthcare is a fundamental part of any thriving community, and we're proud to see the expansion of Mercy Hospital nearing its completion. Almost a $200 million investment in this community. They could have gone anywhere else, but they chose to expand and build out right here in Fort Smith. A lot of thought went into making that major decision, and we're proud they made it here.
Mayor McGill says one of the things he's most proud of is the growth in Fort Smith, and he said that that growth happening along with that decrease in crime is all thanks to the community stepping up. Live in Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Morgan Wrigley, 5 News.
All right, thank you for that, Morgan. Well, continuing coverage this morning, the man accused of shooting and injuring a law enforcement officer in Webbers Falls is now in custody. Oklahoma Highway Patrol issuing a blue alert Sunday evening for Billy Wayne Williams. He was arrested more than 700 miles away in New Mexico yesterday. The Grants Police Department saying they found him in a vehicle in a parking lot. They say that police tried to contact the suspect, who is this man you see here, who then shot himself. He remains hospitalized in critical but stable condition. The officer he's accused of shooting sustained an injury to the face from the gunfire, but has since been treated and released from the hospital. Governor Sanders has announced new legislation connected to legal immigration in Arkansas.
5 News reporter Rachel Williams spoke with one area law enforcement agency about the bill.
Defense Against Criminal Illegals Act legislation aims to enhance penalties for illegal immigrants who commit additional crimes while in the natural state. It would also expand Arkansas Sanctuary City ban to include unincorporated areas in counties and add a requirement for Arkansas law enforcement to participate in a program called 287G, which intends to expedite deportations in cooperation with ICE officials.
That doesn't mean we would go out and serve a warrant for someone in the community. What that means is if they were brought to jail on local charges, we could serve that warrant in the jail. And like I said, if we have them that are brought in and we believe that they are indeed in the country illegally, we notify ICE and then they do what they do.
Hobie Runyon, Sebastian County Sheriff, says this legislation should not have an impact on citizens in his county because deputies are not enforcing immigration laws.
The ones that are in the country illegally, unless they're arrested for something else, that would really be the only time that we would have any reason to have any contact with.
According to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the 287G program has 3 models on how ICE enforcement and removal operations can operate. If the legislation is approved, Sebastian County would be participating in the jail enforcement model program.
It would basically allow you to send these people to training for 8 hours, our deputies. And then what they would do is they would be able to enforce warrants that immigration has. So for instance, if our agency or another local agency made an arrest on local charges, and then they brought them to jail and we discovered that they were illegal, then we would be able to serve that warrant.
Well, that was Rachel Williams reporting. In order to pass legislation, it has to go through both the State House and Senate for approval. Well, Governor Sanders also spoke on the tornado outbreak that hit the state over the weekend. The storms are being blamed for 3 deaths, and the National Weather Service has confirmed 2 EF4 strength tornadoes in northeast Arkansas. Sanders put a state of emergency in place and said that has already freed up relief funds.
This is not going to be a quick recovery. It will take time, but our message is one that I learned from my dad. We will take care of the people first and the paperwork second. Our number one goal will be to take care of those who have been so tragically impacted over the last several days.
The governor also says that she has talked to President Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem about getting federal aid funds to the area.
Well, homeowners are now dealing with the aftermath of the storms as the largest municipal area impacted. Cave City also serves as the hub for resources. American Red Cross of Greater Arkansas has turned Cave City First Assembly into a place where people can go for help.
We'll take them in, we'll do an intake, we'll see what resources they may need, we'll get them settled.
Meanwhile, donations filled the inside of Cave City Middle School as volunteers organized piles of food and clothing.
Well, a group of local volunteers with Sheepdog Impact Assistance is heading out from Rogers to help with tornado recovery efforts in southern Missouri. The volunteers will be on a 5-day mission helping clearing debris in Rolla. The National Weather Service says a tornado left behind a trail of destruction across the town last Friday, spanning nearly 9 miles. In total, the tornado outbreak caused 12 deaths in Missouri.
Meanwhile, the Rogers Public Library is still working to repair damage from last May's tornado outbreak. It left behind significant damage to the building, and only one small area of the library has been open to the public.
The city says right now they are waiting to get pre-approval from FEMA, which is crucial to ensure the city can afford the costs.
Obviously, we want to expedite this thing as much as possible, but we want to see it built back as well as possible. So we do continue to ask for patience from the residents of Rogers and those who have been using the library.
You can still check out books and other resources from the Rogers Library. And there's one community room that's available for activities.
All right, happy Tuesday morning to you. Let's get you a traffic update before we head out the door. We do have one accident out there, but it looks like it's already starting to get cleaned up and moved along. Here's a look at Razorback Road. The quality here, not great. RDOT is actually moving this camera as we speak now to get a better look at that accident. This is near exit 60 heading southbound over on the right shoulder there. Again, crews have just pulled away from that scene, so more than likely that accident cleared up this morning. Outside of that, clear commute for you. We'll have an update on the warm conditions this afternoon coming up.
Well, the ceasefire in Gaza is now over. Israel launching new airstrikes against Hamas overnight, which Hamas says killed at least 200 people. Israel's prime minister says he's directed his military to act forcefully against Hamas, citing its refusal to release all hostages and its rejection of offers from the U.S. Hamas called the strikes an unprovoked escalation. President Trump also focuses today on Russia's war in Ukraine. He's set to hold a phone call with Russia's president.
Trying to get a peace agreement done. We want to get a ceasefire and then a peace agreement.
A federal judge has given the Trump administration until noon today to explain why it disobeyed his order that 2 planes carrying alleged Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador Saturday turned around. A 3rd flight also took off later that day. The Trump administration argued that the judge's order was not in writing until after the first 2 flights took off and that the court no longer had jurisdiction once the planes were over international waters.